there's a big focus in a lot of the fitness industry of this requirement to restrict certain foods to make progress, or restrict certain types of foods or food groups to make progress. Like an example is low carb, Atkins diet, cutting out carbohydrates, cutting out sugar, for example, no fruit. There's other stuff like low fat and cutting out bread, like gluten, and cutting out lactose and stuff like that. There's a lot of emphasis on cutting things out and restricting things, and you can't eat certain foods. Now, there's a massive problem that comes with restriction. And the thing is that, have you ever heard of the saying, what you resist persists? So when something's restricted, you're continuously thinking, I can't eat this, I can't eat that. It creates this need for that particular type of food because you're constantly thinking about it. So for example, if I say, there's a common thing, don't think about a pink elephant. Now, the fact that you're not thinking about that you're trying not to think about it, is gonna make you think about it. Same with chocolate. I don't want you to eat any chocolate. Okay, I can't eat chocolate. I can't eat chocolate on the brain. I can't eat pizza. I'm not allowed pizza, not allowed ice cream. You're forever thinking about these foods that you're not allowed. But the fact that you're thinking of them makes you start to obsess over them, makes you start to crave them, and which will ultimately end up in a binge. So whenever you're told not to do something, you're just forever being brought back to thinking about that action, even if you don't necessarily want to do it or have no major interest in doing it. So that's one major issue with restriction. And the same issue with restriction is that if you do break this restriction, for example, if you do happen to eat chocolate, it puts you in an all or nothing mind frame. If you do end up eating chocolate, it's not like you can be like, I've broken the rule, I just had one piece of chocolate, I broke the rule, that's okay. It's once you break the rule, you fucking make sure you break the rule big time. So what that means is if you do have a piece of chocolate, not only do you have a piece of chocolate, you probably have a whole bloody bar of it. You probably break down one of those massive things of Cadbury milk chocolate, Restriction causes this because it causes binging, because you're never ever going to go the rest of your life without some chocolate. You're never ever going to go the rest of your life without carbohydrates. You're never going to go the rest of your life without bread, without gluten. There's going to be a point along the line where you slip up, and probably more than once, and when you do it, because this food's bad and naughty and restricted, when you do it, you're going to do it big time and you're going to binge. So it really creates an unhealthy relationship with food. And that is why, instead of restriction, you should never really restrict anything. Because if you're coming from a place of emphasizing health, if you're coming from a place of balance, and if you're coming from a place of long-term change, you're going to want to emphasize healthy foods, but have allowances and not feel guilty and be able to indulge from time to time. And when you come from this position of nothing is restricted, you can eat a piece of pizza and not feel this need to eat the whole pizza. You can eat a couple of little blocks of chocolate and not feel this urge to eat the whole thing, because it's not a restriction. It's not a good or bad food. So consider that with food restriction, guys. You should never ever restrict foods. It will come and bite you in the butt eventually, and it's not a healthy way to live. It's not a happy way to live. Are you going to go the rest of your life without ever eating ice cream? Fuck no. You're going to go the rest of your life without ever having pizza. Hey, look, maybe you will, but I like pizza. I don't mind the odd slice here and there.